Welcome back to Triple Natures, everybody. In this video, we'll be introducing the nature of telling versus exploring, on pair with informative versus concise and germane versus associative. As always, every personality has access to both sides of every nature. Also, how you individually develop in your personality can greatly affect how you express a nature. This nature pertains to the value a person finds in communicating, the point or reason for a conversation. The telling personalities view value as coming from the person speaking to the other person. They know what they have to say in advance to get the value across to the other person. They generally have in mind what it is they're trying to share, and they expect other people to do the same. Thus, if a telling personality is telling you something, they view the value as coming from themselves to you, and they're trying to get you that value. If you are talking to a telling person, then they expect what you are about to say to have value to them. So even if you aren't a telling personality, they'll still expect it because that's their perspective. Whoever is speaking has the value that they're trying to get across to the other person. On the other hand, the exploring personalities find value in conversation to be not in the person who is speaking, but in a discovery in conversation. This means that an exploring personality oftentimes will be trying to get the other person to speak by asking questions or by making statements they expect the other person to respond to, because only insofar as myself and the other person come together in conversation to generate something new can value be achieved. There's nothing to be told or simply given, it's something to be found. Exploring personalities, therefore, have a tendency of not knowing precisely what it is they're about to say before they say it. They don't necessarily pre-plan it in their mind so much, because as they speak, they are discovering what it is they're saying. And so there is a tendency for them to have more pauses and be in that conversation state where they're reaching for the next words to use because they don't necessarily know what it is they're looking for. It's not pre-planned. It's important to note that what a personality is trying to tell or what they're trying to discover can be greatly influenced by which specific personalities we're talking about. Because an ESFJ, for instance, is going to be more explorative in a social context, whereas an ESTP is also going to be highly exploratory, but they have a more hands-on practical perspective, so it won't necessarily be used in a social discovering of other people sort of way. When entering into a conversation, you bring your perspective of the value of communication. And because the point of communicating can be such a personal, internal, subjective thing, you might not even realize that the other person has a different perspective than you. You might be a teller looking to give something of value to the other person and expecting them to give something of value back, but if they're an explorer, they're not going to appreciate what you're telling them as much, and they're not going to feel any need to give something back because they're looking to generate something new through cooperation with you in conversation. Thus, a subtle kind of frustration can arise where it's like, what even are you trying to do in this conversation with me? A teller will be confused because there's no giving and receiving of value, and an explorer might be confused with a teller because the teller isn't coming together. They're not responding properly. They're not cooperating so as to generate anything new. If a balance can be achieved between telling and exploring in a conversation, then the exploring personality can find new things, the teller can then pass what they have on to the explorer to then find more things, and the process can repeat itself, thus generating both kinds of value in a conversation. Please tell me what you think of this nature and drop a comment. If you want to help me with my research, then please reach out to me. Till next time.